Wonderful.
Hi, Isaac. Love to rest with you.
Yeah. I love how we rest together and that faculty and awareness that can fine tune just does it.
Sorry, say that again, Isaac, please.
You know, there's that capacity and awareness that can fine tune just when it's, and it just does it. When we rest together, it just kind of refines and refines, and our attention gets sweeter and sweeter, at least to my sensing.
Do you sense any other movements in the system?
No, to me, it just felt like this interest to meet beautifully, and then that capacity just fine tuning itself and coming into, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
Feel So, yeah, I just feel so much more here on this earth. How's that?
Yeah. So
Thank you.
thanks, Jim. Yeah. Mm, absolutely. Barbara. Morning. Good evening. You're still muted, Barbara. So
Okay, now. So
now I hear you.
hmm, I'm a bit confused and hurt and maybe we can look together.
Pleasure.
I was I was trying to invite the male into my life somehow.
Mhm.
And then I had the total panic, and then I was trying to see that this is not going to happen. And I don't know, like I was like a baby or something. Like I was in such a condition which was so weird, and I don't know why I have so much panic there, or what was happening. Like I'm really confused what I was doing and what was going wrong. And
So let's just again look at this story of I'm doing and happening automatically, unconsciously.
yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, that's for sure. It's just something
Happening automatically and unconsciously, nothing that you're actually doing.
Yeah.
So like in order to meet in an authentic, real way means vulnerability. And, like in most of us, where there's been old information, trauma, conditioning, our system is defending, it sees through a habit that looks like there's someone else out there. Doesn't just rest as awareness where there is no other. It looks as if there is another.
Yeah, especially, I mean,
And especially when it comes to wanting to relate intimately,
yeah,
because that's where some of the, you could say, the most traumatized old information hangs out. So when we resting here now, there's a masculine body and a feminine body appearing in awareness here. Bodying, verbs actually. And as we're meeting right here, right now, in this moment, to me, it feels like there's vulnerability, there's nakedness, there's sweetness.
yeah.
At least that's the way it feels to me. I'm curious how it feels to you. It feels like it's like that for you too,
Yeah.
from where I'm looking. Yeah. And no freak out. In fact, I'd say the opposite. It's beautiful.
Yeah, the strange thing is, I mean, I know that I can do it, or that it is there, the possibility of this.
Yeah, so is this a doing? Let's just first check that. Or is
No.
it more a resting? It's not a doing, it's just a resting, yeah? And there's nobody that's doing this. I would say this is just, there isn't somebody here. There's just presence.
And then is the fear that that I might forget it, and that
I'm not sure. Let's look together. Because when we're resting here like this, you know, here we are resting in cyberspace, so there's no physical contact possible. There's just energetic, let's say flow, love flow, yeah? So from the way you spoke, sounds like there's an interest to start exploring relating, which includes intimacy. If does understand that correctly?
yeah, it might have happened. I don't know. I mean, I was even not able, like, to make it possible. Like,
yeah, so look, so like now, we're resting here, yeah? So if we're lucky enough where we meet an expression of life, where there's an easy, lovely flow, yeah? Then comes a moment where there's like, oh, would you like to spend some time together? So there's like a movement towards, that's another step as well, I could say it like that. And that's there we don't know whether it'll be received, whether someone will say, oh, that sounds lovely, or no, I'm not available for that. So there's a moment where something in us goes, wow, that's exciting to put myself out like that. Like there's an interest.
like,
And
I mean,
so without that step, you could say then there's just a meeting and it moves. It's, you know, like it's enjoyed and it doesn't so move in the direction where there's an interest to spend time with someone. At least that's the way it seems to me. I don't know how it seems to you or anybody else. I can just say.
maybe I'm also a little bit like, there's so much this wanting to know what is underneath, like, what is really my problem? Why did it happen like this? And
is it a problem, or is it, look, what we can say is there's an interest. And so now there's an exploration going on, looking at, in that interest, not jumping over the interest or pretending the interest isn't there. There's an interest. We can see it's easy to rest together. But that step of saying, I would like to spend time together, just to see where it goes, not even, we don't know where it goes, but it's indicating an interest, yeah? Yeah. Like there's a resonance and some attraction and an interest to have time to play, to be, to see what comes out of it.
I just don't understand why I was so in panic. Like, because it's the most beautiful thing which can happen.
Yes, but it can be the most painful thing that can happen. You know, when there's an interest and somebody says,
Wow.
yeah.
You think then this is a point that there's so much fear of being rejected, or having this feeling of, oh, it's not working, or
Yeah, so that's the thing, is like when someone says no, are they rejecting us? Because that's, you know, like that's the filter that it looks through. That if someone says no, that's a rejection. If someone says no, it's, you know, it's, to me, it's not a rejection. It's just like, and we, you know, as far as I can see, yeses and no's come, and then we try and explain them to ourselves or rationalize them all. But, you know, it's like a yes or a no comes, and what does it mean? It just means no. At this moment, it's a no.
yeah, it's true. But why
But
is
it's
it?
not the way it feels.
Yeah, it's not the way it feels. That's the
The
point.
way it feels is like it's,
Feels
if
like
someone says
dying.
no,
It feels like dying.
yeah, exactly. And it is in a way, kind of a death, because we're vulnerable and we're offering that vulnerability. And it's, yeah, to put ourselves forward like that, in a sense, you know, like, yes, I would love to spend time with you. And then it gets a no. And then something wants to know, why is it a no? Is there something wrong with me? Did I do it wrong? Did I approach wrong? I mean, it's so easy to go into endless looping rather than, oh, I get it, thanks. Oh, well, thanks for a clear, straight answer. But then it's like, oh, wow, the interest is still there. Now do I look for someone else to fulfill that interest? Oh, that feels funny. You know, it's like,
What a strange game.
yeah, you know, like, how many people do I have to ask before I get a yes? And then if I do get a yes, what does it actually mean? Because then you start, then once the yes comes, then it's you know, a whole bunch of other things. Chemicals get released in our system, and it's like, what is it? Are we looking for a life partner, and are we heading into the direction of relationship? Are we defining? I mean, all that stuff starts to come into view, but ultimately there's an interest. You know, I don't, from my feeling, we tribal, you know, it's like you look at most apes, which we are, they spend time in groups. They're not solitary creatures. But for us, you know, like we've moved in the direction of either nuclear families, very separate, little living in little boxes, or so-called singles. And it's not a very natural way to kind of live. You know, we love touch, we love company, whether even to take a walk or eat a meal or just to say good morning to, you know. It's
Yeah.
but how we've been raised is that, you know, in order to have that, we have to be in relationship or make a whole bunch of promises or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it became so big and so not natural anymore that somehow I maybe I have to learn it new, or
I would say yes. So then you're in a learning cycle, and then of course when you're in the learning cycle, like anything new that we're learning, it's out of our comfort zone. Yeah, and of course, it's like when we're learning, we could say, like a baby learning to walk, it falls over. It's not mistakes, it's just part of the learning process. So there's an interest to play. I don't know, it's like,
I was kind of thinking, what kind of trauma is there? And now I have to not to get rid, but at least to see it, and then to understand
see,
and to throw it out.
yeah.
And
yeah. Look, I would say, if it's possible, notice that there's an interest, and that interest is a genuine interest. It's beautiful, and for sure it's going to bring whatever's next to be seen to the surface.
yeah,
And then in that's vulnerability right there. And then it's curious. Then how do you go about it? You get on a dating site, you start going to mantra singing, you start going where other people are. I mean, because if we stay at home, the chances of meeting someone is small. But then if you kind of cruising around in your life and there's that openness, it communicates itself. It's like, okay.
yeah, and I mean,
And so then the question is, just to feel there's an interest to meet the masculine. Now, is that interest to have a relationship? Is that interest in just becoming available in a vulnerable way and then seeing what it wants? Or is there already an idea in your mind of what it wants? So you start, you just...
I think there was also an idea. It was not really free. There was,
Yeah.
and that's the point, because
For sure.
I tried
That's your conditioning, right?
yeah.
Conditioning is, if you're going to move in that direction, then you want someone that you that you can move into a relationship with. It's not like, oh, let's explore, let's see what's real there, and maybe there's, it's like, how are we meeting now? How's it feel? Just this meeting. We're talking about something that's quite vulnerable. But it feels like we're staying present.
Yeah. I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
And just putting something or in this case, it was a fear. I was putting some fear on top, and then it couldn't work.
Yeah. So were you doing that, or was it happening unconsciously?
This was the conditioning of the system. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just to see it. So that's the opportunity.
I would like that this is not there the next time. That but
so no, wait, stop.
Yeah.
If you would like it not being there, it means that there's not a willingness to start exploring what that is. Not to get rid of it, not to change it, but really to be present to that. As soon as you've got an agenda, okay, now I want that not to be there. It's a setup.
But how can I make it a little bit more realistic? I mean, yeah,
So
just like this, huh?
just like this, it's like, so if it happens, we don't know what will happen. It's like there's this interest, and that interest, usually our life happens within the context of our interests. So there's an interest. And so the radar now is scanning. You know, whenever you're around in your life and you see a man that fits within a certain picture, your systems are really starting to see, is he available? Is he not available? It's just what life does. It's like when you get an idea in your mind, I want to buy a new bicycle or a new car. Your intelligence starts looking around. Where is that, you know? So it's looking, and it's available for it. And then when it sees someone, wow, then it's exciting, but it's also what's the next step? How do I let this person know that there's an interest? And what is the interest? If have an interest to meet, in the back of my mind, it's like to find someone to play with, whatever that means. Or and I'm looking for a marriage, or I'm looking, I mean, you know, it's like,
I mean, then it's always learning by doing. I mean, it's not,
I don't know another way.
it's just, yeah, it's, when it seems as if there's so much in the way, though, how, oh. It's a little bit weird.
In our lives, that you could say that interest to find our tribe or someone that we can have company with. How much clear modeling do we have from our brain? I'd say pretty not much. So many ideas around it, so much shame and guilt, and just around that, I would say, very natural impulse.
Mm.
So of course, you know, for many people, it's too hard. They just put it in the too hard basket. That's it. I'm not going to go for it. Other people go into it and find themselves with a partner, but all kinds of unconscious stuff going on that's not easy, no way of possibly addressing it.
Mm.
And then getting terribly hurt, or, you know, as the patterns start to play, not knowing how to navigate that.
I mean, why? Yeah, why? That's not the question.
It's not the question.
I mean,
What
it
I can
is
see,
for
what
me-
I can see is that there's an interest in you that's bringing you into a sweet vulnerability that, for me, feels very beautiful, I would say. But with it, of course, there's in that vulnerability, you know, it's like, which is, that's one of the things when we look at a child or a puppy, or, you know, there's that vulnerability it's beautiful. But then to learn to kind of explore within that vulnerability, not on a, you know, like how could I say, without all the compensations that our system has been conditioned into to deal with the discomfort. of just being present nakedly and vulnerably.
Yeah, this is already a lot, no?
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
For all of us.
Mm. So strange that it seems so difficult with a male, and maybe it's also difficult with women. Maybe it's just not so important for me to go really deep. It's more easy like to be shallow, no? Yeah.
And that's the thing. When it's just shallow, of course, there's not much risk.
Yeah,
You're not really being authentic. We're not really being really vulnerable.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
And I can be easily in the comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure. So something is now inviting you to go deeper.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but it also brings with it everything you're speaking about. I'd say it's beautiful. That's just from where I look.
I hope I can play. I hope playing is going to happen.
Yeah, there's an interest. There's
Yeah.
an interest. Yeah. And
I'm
so-
also like, there is no playing, there is nobody there. So that's the point. And yeah, this is the other problem, actually, for most of us.
Yeah, it is, so that's the thing, is like, where do we, there's all these apps now you can get for your phone, where you swipe left or right. But it's not, again, it's a very funny medium to meet like that, it's like,
Yeah.
so, like, to find someone that has similar interests to you, then it's like, like maybe at a retreat, or maybe, you go to a meeting somewhere, or I don't know, where you, in a field where there's similar interests, that's the best chance of meeting. But again, it's like, if we go there with this demand, I have to meet someone tonight, or then it puts a pressure on it. But if it's you recognize there's an interest, and then, okay, now, how do I start to, move in my life that gives a possibility for this interest to fulfill itself? And we can make that a problem, because for many of us, we've gotten used to just being in our own space where we don't have to deal with anything that's uncomfortable. We just in our usual thing. We've got television, we got books, we got whatever we used to use ourselves. Or we start to step out, or okay, become available to that interest, letting that interest reveal to us what's next to be seen.
Yeah.
And if we're so fixated on what the interest, getting a result from the interest, then we miss all the beautiful revealings along the way. And again, just yeah.
You know what's funny? Like, you were recommending to us this Zach Bush.
Yeah.
And like, there was really something happening when I was watching him. Like, and I don't understand that this is not happening to any other one, which I was saying, well, watch it and look at it. And it makes me so sad.
That other people don't receive it the same way you do. Yeah, what can you do?
I don't know what it is, like, what's so interesting about when he speaks, but there's really like through the words he could bring me somewhere, which
Yeah.
was wow.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the connection to nature.
Yeah.
When you like was talking about the elephants, like how this native people are inviting the elephants to come.
Mhm.
You remember?
Mhm.
He was talking about this man from the desert, and they are going to the knees and on the hands, and then they let pour the heart into the earth, and the feet of the elephant is feeling this, and then they come to the man. Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I feel like each time when there is no response to this, I feel hurt. I don't understand like why I'm talking about this now, but yeah, it's kind of it's deep. What
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you for your vulnerability and exploring. Yeah. Thanks. Just out of interest, if you want to go to gallery view for a moment and just check, was this exploration useful or valuable to anybody? Might have been for some people. Cool. Vati, I forgot your other name.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Hi.
Remind me of the other name again?
It's Parvati. Actually,
Alright.
I have three names: Parvati,
Okay.
Karin, or Lalla.
Okay.
So any one of those is okay.
Okay, cool.
We just wish to just
Rest.
just rest and just see what's what's there.
Yeah, pleasure. Where do you notice as we just rest together? If anything, if you can put it in words, maybe you can, maybe you can.
Yeah, I just noticed that there it's very subtle, but it's like it's a reminder. How shall I put this? It's like I get reminded of every session like this we had before, and like everything I learned, or the new information that I learned, that my system learned those times, that they are very easily accessible again when we sit like this. So that's like, even though I feel pretty good right now. I don't have any, issue.
Yeah.
so I'm just, what I notice now in my life or my experience is that I feel like my system is learning to relax quite deeply right now.
Fantastic.
And I also feel much more energy in my legs, in my feet, and even though there is trauma responses coming up, where I feel very sad or disconnected and stuff like that, but I feel like it's a new status quo. It feels like
Yeah, I get it.
happening.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's how it feels right now.
Thanks.
And for
Beautiful.
each like for instance, this morning I was sad and then I cried and I was a bit tense for a couple of days, and then yeah, it's like this. It's like my system is learning that nothing is really permanent, and that's just a relaxation in itself. Just to okay, and yeah. Mm.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Isaac Satyam has his yellow hand raised, so I don't know if you
Oh,
can
cool. I
see it.
didn't see it. I'm used to people waving their hands. Sorry, Satyam. I see you now. I'm opened you. Welcome.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
I just want to stay with you.
Yes, welcome.
I just want to see this and see what happens. Thank you. Oh. Can I say something?
With pleasure.
Whenever this touches deep there's a, I always come across this layer of such grief,
Mhm.
this overwhelming grief.
Mhm.
I really don't know where did this come from.
We often don't know, Satya. So when you say overwhelming, what comes in on my screen is that, you know, it can only move into overwhelm when there's some resistance.
Yeah,
So just without trying to change anything or just sensing where there's some resistance to what you're calling grief.
okay.
So we're just looking now, we're leaving the grief for a moment. We're just looking to see where there's a resistance.
Yeah. I see that. There's a
And
little
honoring that resistance, just honoring it. It's not wrong, it's not bad. It's just okay, something up till now has just gone into resistance to it.
Yeah.
And what resistance always does is it makes it more intense.
Okay.
It's trying to help, but it, you know, it's like if you're driving a car and you try to put the brake on and instead you step on the accelerator, yeah?
Hmm.
It's just,
Hmm.
okay. So that resistance, just feeling how it sits in the body and
Yeah.
where maybe you could just gently looking, where did your system learn to that resistance? Where did it get conditioned to? That sadness wasn't something that could be embraced or met, you know, or that, you know, because the moment there's resistance, there's going to be identification with the grieving.
Hmm.
That resistance is what produces that sense of identification with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's the fear of being totally vulnerable,
Okay.
and because I think it's something from the past. Whenever there was vulnerability, there was hurt.
Mhm. No.
So now with you, it's the first time I'm meeting you like this.
Mhm.
Before, when I met you in time, like almost 20 years ago, and there were many ideas, and now those ideas are becoming less. And to meet you, like,
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
just to meet you like this, it's like opening up to some other person. And in the school, I didn't meet my teachers like
Anyone.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
In this all my schooling, I didn't even ask this. Can I meet you? You know.
Or for that matter, our parents or our families, you know, it's like
Yeah.
we weren't invited to meet vulnerably, honestly, authentically. It's not been part of our, yeah. And
Well,
yet
there's
we yearn
much,
for it.
yeah.
Yeah. And yet we yearn for it, yeah.
There's so much appreciation that I can meet you like this. If
Yeah.
can be
Beautiful.
open and that you will not hurt me or something like that.
Yeah. And if hurt happens, there's the possibility of being present to it and seeing what it is, seeing what's going on, because, you know, like that's the confusion that we have around hurt. Hurt,
Yeah.
I think all of us have experienced hurt, but for many of us, we believe that somebody hurt us or that there's something wrong with us if hurt happens. But it's not the case. It's just like, oh, there's something that hasn't been seen yet. That's all. It's just an opportunity.
Hmm.
So for me, you know, like hurt is not something to be avoided. It's just an opportunity if it happens.
Hmm.
If it projects outwards, of course, then it gets very uncomfortable because now, you know, we have to try and organize our lives to avoid that person forever or whatever. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Or if we think there's something wrong with us, it hurt happened, then of course something in us gets very hard on ourselves. But if it's okay, just an opportunity. Hurt can happen.
Mm.
You know, as a baby, we had one signal that we could give, which was to cry.
Yeah.
That was it. If our parents had the habit of objectifying, of seeing everybody as objects, they wouldn't have been in tune with us,
Mm.
which to the baby would have felt existential. The person that's taking care of your survival doesn't feel you, doesn't see you. So for many of us, our systems have become incredibly sensitive to when another system doesn't see us or feel us, which is most of the time people are not used to really seeing and feeling each other. So we've developed all these compensations to try and keep it shallow and not to be truly naked and vulnerable. Because it's, you know, it's like, it touches that old existential wounding. It's just like, and it's in almost everybody, Satya. So it's beautiful what's happening in you. Something is now kind of starting to stand on its own feet. Okay, maybe hurt happens. It's okay. You know, can be invited into. It's an opportunity. Yeah.
I wanna.
You know, it's hard. It's impossible to be sovereign when our system is trying to avoid hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not possible. So it's, you know, it's like something's happening where your system is showing up vulnerably. You're not doing it. It's just happening.
Yeah.
And you see, it's actually okay. It's actually quite beautiful to meet like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see that. Yeah. Yeah. It's like maybe before, when the system didn't know this new vibration of just being, there was that fear of that if I become vulnerable, that I will lose my life or something like that.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Old information. No.
Yeah. So I can be vulnerable and still be here with it. As
Yes,
me.
exactly.
Yeah. That was now I feel that.
And you know, like what happens too is it's starting to develop the capacity. Okay, if we, you know, in a field where you could say there hasn't been a recognition of the beauty of vulnerability. So there's, you know, the habit of meeting shallowly or meeting, you know, like socially, but in a way, when you're sensitive, it's quite painful because it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like not seen, not heard, but then something in it sees that the person, whoever's looking through that filter, doesn't have a choice. They haven't yet, you know, it hasn't matured in them, or whatever it is, and it doesn't take it personally. It just can feel with the person, can be compassionate with that, recognizing, wow, to live like that is painful.
Yeah.
And nobody would live like that if they had a choice. That's clear.
Now I can see that most, probably, as you say, it's not only me, most of the people who live like in a box, all
Yeah,
over,
for
everything
sure.
everything tucked up. And the whole system is tucked, closed down, and you just keep on.
You know, like somehow we were looking this morning at this urge to want to meet beautifully and deeply, and especially when it's like includes the possibility of being, let's say, essentially including the senses, including the flow of aliveness that some people call sexuality, where that can be included, and we're not jumping over, you know, it's like so hungry that we'll settle for crumbs in some ways, where it can be true to what's actual there.
Yeah.
When that's also in play. It's like it's a, because there is an interest to meet beautifully in almost everybody, I would say, except we don't know how. We've never been invited,
Yeah,
That's one of the things that I love about the in-person retreats, where a bunch of people come and, the people can start exploring, I could say being real with one another, where, on the internet like this, it's beautiful, but there is, like there's no possibility to actually hug or touch.
Yeah.
Or be available to what's, to a flow that's coming on, and just seeing what's true in it. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac, so much.
Thank you.
So much.
For bringing
This
this.
is almost my first time meeting you like this. It's so precious.
And may it just deepen, and which unlikely, most likely it will. The more we kind of keep exploring, the more our system feels safe, and the more it allows itself to meet itself, which is exquisite.
Yeah. Love you, Isaac.
No, thank you. Yeah. Hey, Teo.
Hello.
Hi, Teo.
Good to see you.
I'm feeling quite a discharge in my hands. I don't know if you're feeling it, or I'm just feeling the feel.
Yeah, I get that a lot in these sessions.
Okay.
But
Right.
yeah, definitely. But there was this kind of shift when just before when you said something when you were exploring with Satyam. I can't remember what it was, but I had quite a lot of discomfort in my body recent just a few days, and tension and kind of feeling weird. And I just realized that that's not the problem. The problem is trying not to have that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
And so there's this kind of, oh, it's still there, but oh,
Yeah, I mean, my hands are tingling.
Yeah.
Crazy. So so to me, it's always a sign of releasing. So
yeah.
I like.
There's something delightful about, being in a just being curious about, the moment and not knowing what it is, what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like again, one of the interesting patterns is that so often instead of that just curiosity, there's an agenda. There's some idea of how it's supposed to be, and
Yeah.
the moment there's an agenda, I'm noticing it's very hard. It stops being gentle. It stops being curious. It's really, and then of course it interferes with integration. It interferes with self, allowing itself to reveal itself. It's curious that we haven't been invited to be gentle in our noticing. Our culture has been very hard in its ideas of noticing.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I feel like I have to have some measure of discipline to not get caught in, to.
What a conditioning, eh?
Yeah, it's incredible. But I feel really grateful to you for making this reminder space available so much. It's really, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I love it. I can say for me, it's beautiful. So I love being able to explore.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Katharina. Hi. You're still muted, Katharina. Ah, good. Now I can.
You wrote something on Facebook I really loved about stress being, how did you say it? Stress is
Upset with time.
yes. Makes me laugh. And
Yeah, because we don't usually see it like that, you know. It's like because the feeling is like we don't have enough time. There's a pressure.
yeah, I have so
It's
much resonance with it, and yeah, I had this huge like, oh, that's my life feeling.
Yeah, look, in our culture, I mean, it's interesting. In indigenous cultures, like, you know, in the Aboriginals, they don't have that sense of stress and pressure. They just don't. It's not part of their culture. But for us, you know, we've been brought up, you have to get your schoolwork done on time, you have to be on time, or, you know, like in this, not realizing time is in us. And, you know, there is actually not even time, it's a projection. But being victims of it, it's like, oh God, you know, it's like
I feel like
deadlines and
all the, yeah, I feel like I've spent a bunch of my lifetime already with the feeling of already having missed what I should have already done, you know,
okay, yeah.
like I'm all the time already late or not having reached something. And now I realize that it really,
It's just a habit, the conditioning, yeah.
yes, but there's also something in me, like I love to be productive. You know, I created this theater project and is people involved, but sometimes I love that things move, you know, like there's this
I
bad
get it,
pressure,
but
but there's also like,
if you look at that, there's an incubation time where something is birthing, you know, the next idea is coming, and is that part of the production? You know, it's like,
interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
you know, there comes a point in where, okay, wow, this idea, and now it's starting to manifest, cool, and then, you know, finding people to play in it with you, and it expresses itself, and you have the whole journey, and then that expression is maybe done, or maybe it continues for years. Some people are still doing, you know, playing cats or hair or whatever the production was 30, 40 years later.
Well, what do you do when you're fed up with your work? I'm actually fed up. I feel fed up. I feel like I gave so much space to everybody and I'm not enjoying it anymore. And now I'm a bit like, you know, like,
That's to me, how beautiful. Now you can't answer that question with your mind.
I
All
cannot
you can,
answer it with my mind.
no, you cannot. All you know is something new is coming in a way. It has been like a way of functioning that is letting you know something new is coming.
I'm pretty, yeah, that's also a beautiful point of view or recognition, let's say. Yeah, it's true. And how can I communicate this to the group without blaming them? You know,
That's a beautiful, now you're in an inquiry. And anyone that answers that question for you is, in my view, not doing you a favor.
Yeah.
It's an inquiry. So now you're in the process.
Mm.
There's an interest.
Yeah, because when I came in here, there's an anger and there's a wanting to blame the others. It's like, which is not a helpful attitude actually. But
And it's seen. And it's seen.
yes,
So
now
now you're in a learning process. Yeah.
yes, because
Okay.
neither to stay in a place that doesn't feel it's not making sense to me anymore, because it's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
but also not blaming the others. So didn't you mention before, like there's learning happening and I don't know how yet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
How beautiful. So then it's truly new. If you knew how, it wouldn't be new. It would still be from the old.
Thank you. Oh, really, you sometimes or always, it's always like really like, I don't know, making a hole into my, like breaking something open so I can really see with new eyes, some kind of.
I'm happy to hear.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just would love to share how much I can see and feel how this productivity is keeping at least me from really being here and perceiving, and how this like when I entered today, I really felt, wow, this silence is so precious, and it feels like it feels like we are sitting together under the sky, and the cosmos can speak. It feels like the cosmos I can receive it. Yes, thank you. Just wanted to share. Mm.
You know, it's like again, if I look at the conditioning that this system received, it wasn't invited to feel nature, to feel the earth, to feel, to kind of really participate in this symphony that's going on everywhere. It was focused on rushing, doing, getting somewhere. And slowly it's learning to be and to enjoy. Amazing how much can still easily happen when it's not coming from that stress, that push. It's just like whole different, flow.
Mm. But it's quite a deprogramming.
Yeah, like in most of us, it's been playing the majority of our life. We're so used to it, it doesn't even show up on our radar. Until something starts to get quiet and you go, wait, wow, this has been this push from underneath. It's actually not so.
It comes back to your meeting with Barbara, this fear, of being intimate, or just fear of meeting, really, and then what to do or say. So this also is I think, because we are not used, or at least I'm not used to, except from here, to allow this intimacy of meeting. Because it's beyond all the roles. And normally we are so used to meet in these functions.
Yeah.
Right, that's interesting. Hmm. It's a whole new story. Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. For sure. Hi, Ocha.
I
speechless. How close can we go? Like this. Yeah, thank you. Great. Oh. You come to Amsterdam?
No, I'm just this year I'm only going to go to Yonatan. I'm not doing the day meetings and evening meetings. Just straight
Yeah,
to Yonatan.
not
Yeah.
Not to Van Wouden or Amsterdam.
No.
6 hours. Is this now real? What is happening?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, yesterday I was in a cacao ceremony. And a lot of people were also in the satsangs with you, were also there. So it was a very intensity, quiet and singing, and you know how these ceremonies are. A lot of dancing, but still I feel so quiet.
Mhm.
And then I think, is this still the cacao, or is it really me that something falls off? Like you put a coat off.
Mhm.
A lot of coats. Maybe it's a nice idea with you to do a cacao ceremony.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nice to meet and feel the people physically.
Yeah.
It's different. But for the moment, it's the same on the screen to see you. And yeah, that's why I think, yeah, is it real? Or we create reality.
Yeah. I mean,
Hmm?
it's like if we start exploring what's real,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we have a perception, which is usually an interpretation of the information of the present moment through our conditioning and our trauma. So in that sense, our perception is like a waking dream. And what's real, we can't even begin to describe. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Speechless. Yeah. And is that before the cacao or beyond?
yeah,
Or is that the mind already trying to,
that's the mind already trying to figure it out.
yeah, maybe better. I felt a real transformation.
Oh, lovely.
And is that then an interpretation or is that real?
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is a different experience, you could say. There's awareness, and the transformation appears in awareness. But what
Yeah.
it boils down to is that somehow the way of meeting the moment has gotten softer or,
Lightning,
like, yeah, and so it's beautiful.
heart, in the heart.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot in the heart.
And yet awareness is beyond any experience, even the most beautiful ones.
Awareness is beyond any experience. That's what you
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, did it really happen?
blissful experience can happen, or intense experiences can happen, and awareness is untouched. It's like a mirror. It's not a mirror.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what reflection is in the mirror. It doesn't mean anything about the mirror. It's just like. So,
Yeah, it is how it is.
Yeah.
And as if nothing happened,
As if nothing
but it
happened.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was far beyond interpretation. Yeah. But it's like also dancing, singing, meditating, or doing nothing. But then still you feel I'm doing something, experiencing, like dancing or singing. But it was not a doing. But maybe it's not a reason to figure it out after. It was like a birth, even, to a new, to a new. Yeah. To a new appearance or something. The sky and so. And then there is a longing, I want to keep that space because it was so loving. And it was not like, uh, maybe it was not even the cacao, it was just the energy of everybody's happy to be physical together. Yeah. To keep that lightness in it. Yeah. Freedom. And the love and the abundance and the space and the silence, celebration, everything, and also nothing in it. Yeah. And sharing, so much sharing. Yeah, I feel really like in a magical dream. How life can be, how it was, and how it maybe will be again. But, nou ja, I hope it will be like this coming times. Yeah, I also feel a little bit fear now that I fell out of something. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? That you are in a kind of space and you feel, oh, resistance is already here, and oh, you see, it's falling. Yeah. To trust that I can keep and nurture this space with awareness.
Yeah, you know, the recognition that all experience appears in awareness.
Yeah,
It's like every experience comes and goes. The highest high and the lowest low all comes and goes. You can't hold on to any of them.
yeah, but relaxation you can create. You can create by breathing or moving. You can put effort to stay relaxed at least.
See, when you speak like that, then it's like there's a fixed viewpoint, and then it's like if I say anything different, then it's an argument rather than an inquiry.
Yeah, it goes in another.
Yeah.
But it's because there is fear, like, oh, I cannot hold this. I cannot hold this space for myself.
If you look at and try and see who is it that's trying to hold it, or what is that?
Yeah. Now, insecurity or something, or fear.
You
That's
can't find some. You can't find someone. You can just find a movement that's
Yeah.
underpinned or driven by, you could say, fear or something else, but there is no one.
Yeah. There is no one. Yeah. Yeah, so
Anyway,
you cannot lose anything.
yeah.
No, no. Okay, I think time is over now.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Andrea, for hosting. Thank you, beloveds, for showing up. Love, peace, beauty,